right, everyone. Did you guys have fun looking? I hope so, because this is where the stress begins. Now, making an offer is obviously the most important part along the process, but it can also be the most stressful. One thing to remember is that your first offer you put out probably won't be accepted. Everyone wants a good deal, obviously, but the sellers obviously want the best price for their property. It is really, really important, in my own personal opinion, to not make sure you lowball the offer too much, because it could essentially scare a seller off and not wanting to deal with you. This is where that ever important realtor comes in. Remember the one you hired back in step number 2? You didn't call the sign, so you have a realtor that's working for you, not for doing that dual agency we talked about. Well, that is the most important thing, because negotiating is probably the biggest asset you can have with a realtor. This is where the realtors really shine. If you have a good one that has a lot of experience, he knows all the ins and outs. He knows what to say. He knows what not to say. And believe me, I've been through this process before. Having a really good negotiator on your side really makes a world of difference. I remember when I sold a property, the realtor that I had, I remember just getting off the phone and laughing, because all the stuff that he said made me think that the other side didn't even have a chance to come up against us. And it was really exciting for us. But remember, when you're putting in these offers, no matter what you hear out there, there's always 2 really important clauses you want to have in that contract for that subject removal. And that is subject to financing and subject to home inspection. Obviously, we've been pre-approved, but you need to remember that for some and all lenders out there, there's 2 parts of the equation. There's you as the borrower, but there's also making sure the property has adequate security for the mortgage. This is where the due diligence on the property comes in, to make sure that the lender is okay with it and that it is a good marketable property. A lot of people ask me, should I get a home inspection? Well, I personally would rather spend the $400, $500, $600, depending on who you use, to make sure that the property you're getting is in good working condition. There would be nothing worse than after you take possession and move in, you find out that the furnace needs to be replaced, because things like that found out ahead of time, they can be negotiated. Again, this is where a good negotiator comes into play. So remember, making an offer is one of the most important parts, obviously, of the whole entire process. Having a realtor working for you is really, really important, and making sure that they have awesome negotiating skills so that you can get the deal you want, but also make sure you get all the important things you want as well in the contract. So have fun, go through the process, but just remember, this is the most stressful part of it. So don't be scared if you lose some sleep at night, or you tend to lose a little bit of weight along the way. That's normal.